G2000 installation steps. Follow these simple steps to install and operate the G2000 fertigation system. This is a general site layout of the system and connections. The first step is to place the pump and mount the controller. The controller has a 8-foot motor cable. So, you should mount it behind and above the pump on a wall. The next step is to add oil to the pump. There are 2 oil fill caps on the pump. There are 2 small oil bottles in the shipment. Pour 1 bottle of oil in each opening and then replace the caps. Then you are done adding oil. The next step is to connect the motor to the controller. Open the motor junction box and run the wires inside the box. Connect L1 to L1, L2 to L2, L3 to L3 and the green wire to green wire using the wire nuts. Then close the box. The next step is to install the discharge and suction fittings on the pump. The discharge fitting goes on top and both have O-ring seals that seal. Thread the clamping nut on and tighten it, only hand tight. You can swivel all the fittings to point to the hose direction. Install the suction fitting the same. The next step is to install the 2 injection valves in the irrigation line. The injection valves are half NPT threads. They can be installed vertical or horizontal. Use the blue thread sealer on the threads. The next step is to install the discharge hose from each head to each injection valve. The discharge hose is half, and it slides in the hose barb. Here is an installation tip. Apply the blue thread sealer on the hose barb and the hose will slide on very easy. Put the hose clamp on the hose first and then slide it on. Important, support the discharge fitting with your hand. Then secure the hose with hose clamp. Tighten well. Run the hose to the injection valve and install the hose the same. Do this to each head, and secure the hoses with the cable ties included. The next step is to install the suction hose from each head to each tank. The suction hose is the 3/4 clear hose, and it slides in the hose barb. Install the Y strainers, the tank manifold, and the tank's valves as shown in the drawing. The next step is to install the flow sensor to the controller. The flow sensor will have 2 wires, red and black. We included a conduit with the flow sensor cable that is red and black wires. Connect our cable to the red and black wires from the flow sensor and connect the conduit to the enclosure and run the cable to the lever terminal. It pulls off the enclosure with Velcro. Install the red wire in the red wire terminal and the black wire in the black wire terminal and replace the lever terminal in the enclosure. This connects your flow sensor red and black to our flow sensor red and black terminals. This will run the fertigation from your flow sensor. Now that the flow sensor is connected, it is time to test the system. First, plug the power in and switch the power on. Switch the mode to manual and make sure the pump motor runs in manual. Next, switch the mode to auto and next run the irrigation to test the fertigation in auto controlled by water flow. Run at least 300 GPM of water flow. Make sure the pump runs in auto and you are done testing the controls. Next, you can fill the tanks with fertilizer. Then prime the pumps. Priming is easy when the tanks are filled. Just open the tank valves, and the manifold valve and then the bleed valve and the fertilizer will flow out the clear bleed tube. Once the fertilizer flows out the bleed tube, close the bleed valve and that pump head is primed. Do this to both heads and you done and ready. Next, calculate the pump rate setting, scan the QR code with your phone, and it will take you to a YouTube video that will walk you through the steps to calculate the pump setting. Each pump has a 30 gallons per hour capacity to enter into the calculation. Call me if you have any questions. 713-504-0750. Here is how to set the pump rate. Set it by turning the stroke rate knob to the percent setting. Note: when the knob is turned in all the way to the right, the pump is set at 100%. Each full turn to the left reduces the rate by 10%. The knob has 0 to 10% marks, and the scale in at the top displays 100% to 0% marks. So, for 50% turn the knob to the left until 50% mark is displayed and the knob is at 0. Now you are ready to fertigate. Here are some steps to follow. Set the pump rate for each pump. Open the tank valves, and the manifold valves. Set the controller to auto. And last, mark the fertilizer levels in each tank. Now you are ready to fertigate with the next irrigation. After you run, Check the fertilizer levels to see if you hit the target amount. Support. If you have any questions or need help with anything to operate the fertigation, please call me. 713-504-0750. See the attached support videos. Thank you, Michael Chaplinsky, Turf Feeding Systems.